Welcome back, and let's begin with some latest news coming in. And the international rating agency Moody's says that it's assessing Adani Group's rated entities' financial flexibility in the aftermath of the Hindenburg report and the short selling that was reported by the group. So far, the ratings have not been affected, but keeping in mind what has happened in the stock market, the reports that have come out, and the manner in which the stock market has bled, especially the share prices of the Adani Group, it was expected that some international agency is going to take up the task and once again recalibrate and reassess the stocks of the company. Moody has made a statement that right now they are assessing Adani Group-rated entities' financial flexibility in the aftermath of the Hindenburg report, a matter which has also reached the floor of the House and Parliament. We saw adjournments happening there. The opposition has been demanding answers on this issue. They are saying that there should be a joint parliamentary committee and a discussion on the floor of the House. Let's see if any of that really happens. But yes, there are ramifications for the company as well. The Adani Group right now facing the heat. The international companies or rating agencies in a scenario like this take a stock of the assets of the company, the manner in which a crisis is being managed by the company, and more importantly, the long-term and the short-term perspective as to how a company is expected to fare. The ratings by Moody's or any other leading agency which is responsible for rating a company's assets creates a huge sentiment in the market and directly, in many ways, directly affects the stock price which is listed in the markets. My colleague Pallavi is joining us on the broadcast, getting us more details on that story. Pallavi, Moody's has made a statement that it's going to reassess Adani Group-rated entities for the financial flexibility on the expected lines.
Absolutely on expected lines, and it's going to give further ammunition to the opposition parties, saying that India's global image is also being affected, and therefore the government really needs to step in and order an independent inquiry, either by way of a JPC or by way of a retired Supreme Court judge, which is a demand which has been made by the Shiv Sena. But for now, the government has steered clear away from the controversy, saying, and we heard what Prahlad Joshi, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, had to say, that the government has got nothing to do with this entire Adani controversy, and it's a baseless allegation being made by the opposition because they do not want Parliament to function. I think there is going to be mounting pressure next week onwards when Parliament reconvenes on Monday that the government must come out with some statement on the floor of the House, a possibility which at least cannot completely be ruled out.
Some statement on the floor of the House. Pallavi, it was expected that the manner in which the stock market reacted, the manner in which the FPO was called off, it has huge ramifications for the stock market. We saw how it bled in red. The government has also said that so far we have got nothing to do. It's a private matter, doesn't concern the government. But the opposition is up in arms. And as you pointed out, they are playing this entire game of perception as to how there is allegedly some kind of proximity between the Adani Group and the government.
Well, I mean, frankly speaking, Adani also has been a favorite whipping boy as far as the opposition is concerned, particularly as far as Rahul Gandhi is concerned, who interestingly has not yet tweeted on this entire matter. But as far as this entire issue goes, the narrative which is being put forward by the opposition is very, very simple. And the narrative is that this is a government which is pro-rich, only cares for the corporates, does not even bother about the poor people. And it's the poor people's hard-earned money which has got affected. And therefore, it is our right, it is our responsibility. That's what the opposition is saying, to actually take the matter up, put pressure on the government. Just an investigation by SEBI is not enough. It wants an investigation to be conducted, as I said, by a retired Supreme Court judge and also a JPC, where the opposition members are also going to be on the parliamentary committee.
Pallavi Ghosh getting us all the perspective. Moody has said it's going to reassess. All eyes on what Moody and other rating agencies, the leading ones, have to say on this entire issue.
Manipulation. Let's dig further into both the company and the man behind them with Seema Modi and Robert Frank. Welcome to both of you. Seema, we'll start with you on why this is having such a big impact, not just in India, but around the world.
Well, he really needed this, right? A fully subscribed $2.5 billion equity sale led by Abu Dhabi, Goldman Sachs. We didn't really see too many retail investors. And as you pointed out, Kelly, the largest equity sale India has seen. What it's done is it's helped stop the downward decline that we've seen in Adani's stock price over the past week for now. But in the meantime, over the last week, we've still seen billions of dollars in market value erased due to these stock price allegation concerns.
Wow. And what do they boil down to? You know, when we hear fraud and manipulation, you know, And this is the most powerful man in the country, it sounds like.
He is. And the Hindenburg report, they claim that Adani is accused of stock price manipulation using shell companies that are then using their money to pump up the stock of Adani Enterprises. So it's a wide-ranging report that really raises some big concerns about who is many times seen as the biggest and most powerful name in India.
What do we know about him, Robert?
Well, Kelly, he was like a supernova of wealth. Last year, he became the world's second richest man at $155 billion. Remember, last year was a year that all the top 10 billionaires in the world lost money. He gained $55 billion. He sort of came out of nowhere. He has just over the past 4 trading days lost around $30 billion. It's one of the biggest sort of wealth losses in a short period of time that we've seen recently. And as Seema said, you know, he had a very good day today. At least one of his main companies, Adani Enterprises, saw their shares increase. Some of the other shares, you know, it's a whole complex of companies here, very complicated, and there are multiple shares of companies that trade. Some of those traded down today. They set new limits on those shares. But the big challenge now is his debt. He's got about $26 billion in debt across this group. The bonds, some of which are U.S. traded, are now trading around 73 cents on the dollar. So, yes, he had this offering that, you know, went off today. That was a good day for him. But there are these bigger questions that relate to the debt. And if the debt's trading at a discount, you know, what does that say about the equity?
And has he done enough, Seema, to kind of address the concerns at the heart of this? And what's been the reaction by the public in India?
Well, it's interesting to look at, to Robert's point, the amount of debt that's on its balance sheet and where it's been getting loans from. So about 40% is held by Indian banks, and that's why we've seen a huge sell-off in some of the biggest financial names in India, from State Bank of India, Yes Bank, life insurance, all down about 8 to 9% over the past 10 days. At the same time, as Adani has been growing its empire, their exposure to foreign banks has actually been increasing as well. There was a recent acquisition of a cement company by Adani last year for $10.6 billion. That was underwritten by Barclays, Standard Chartered, Deutsche Bank as well. And then private equity has played a role as well. Warburg Pincus recently purchasing a stake in a port in India for $100 million. There's Apollo, who we spoke to a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
They gave Adani a $750 million loan. That's the Mumbai International Airport, which is majority owned by Adani. So his tentacles are really all over the infrastructure story.
Is that, Robert, kind of reinforcing some of the questions being raised here?
It is. And, you know, the other broader question, which just any investor would ask, is how does a stock go up 3,000% in just 5 years, which now trades at a multiple at a PE of over 400 times? I mean, wow. Setting aside all of the offshore allegations, everything else, just any stock that's up 3,000% in 5 years has a 400 multiple would raise questions to any investor, let alone a short seller.
What do you think the significance, you know, $2.5 billion, while big by the Indian secondary market point of view, is not, it's a drop in the bucket of what this company and this man is worth. What would be the best use of those proceeds, Robert?
Well, they're going to expand the shareholder base. They're going to pay down some of that debt. And I think the question now is, you know, Abu Dhabi already had about $2 billion sunk into this company. It had to sort of follow that with the $400 million assist on this 2.5 offering. So they were in. A lot of high net worth investors in India were also investors in this. So the question is, what is the real shareholder base of these companies feel? Have they kept their faith? Or do they continue to lose their faith going forward? So that's why tomorrow's trading and the rest of the week will be really interesting to watch.
Absolutely. Even this share sale being completed doesn't feel like that's the end of the story by any stretch.
For
Absolutely. Sure. Guys, thank you for now. Robert Frank and Seema Modi.
सबसे जरूरी सवाल इनका हिंदुस्तान के प्रधानमंत्री के साथ क्या रिश्ता है और कैसा रिश्ता है?
देश जानना चाहता है।
तो
देश जानना चाहता है।
ये देखिए रिश्ता। ये देख लीजिए।
प्लीज पोस्टर माननीय सदस्य
पब्लिक में सर।
माननीय सदस्य पोस्टर नहीं प्लीज पोस्टर नहीं
है सर।
देखिए आप बैठिए एक मिनट बैठिए। आप पोस्टरबाजी करेंगे तो इधर कहेंगे राजस्थान के मुख्यमंत्री का पोस्टर चिपकाएंगे। पोस्टरबाजी के लिए सदन नहीं है। आप बात करें पोस्टरबाजी नहीं।
स्पीकर सर,
आप वरिष्ठ सदस्य हैं।
स्पीकर सर,
तो पोस्टरबाजी उचित नहीं है।
स्पीकर सर,
पोस्टरबाजी उचित नहीं है। प्लीज राजस्थान के मुख्यमंत्री
ये सच्चाई है।
दिस पिक्चर वाज केम इनटू द मीडिया। चलिए, पोस्टर नहीं, प्लीज।
वो लिख दे दो मुझे। हाँ, आ गया। जस्ट राइट इट नीटली। तो नहीं स्पीकर सर, वो फोटो है सर, वो पोस्टर नहीं है।
आप वरिष्ठ सदस्य हैं,
प्राइम मिनिस्टर की फोटो है सर, उसके बहुत उनका अच्छा चेहरा दिख रहा है। उसके उनके वहां पे उनके पीछे अदानी का लोगो है, अदानी जी के हवाई जहाज में घुस रहे हैं। तो मैंने सोचा कि आज के प्रेसिडेंट्स एड्रेस में मैं थोड़ा जो नरेंद्र मोदी जी का और अदानी जी का रिश्ता है उसके बारे में आपको थोड़ा बता देता हूं।
प्लीज बताइए।
तो वो आप बता देना। So the relationship begins many years ago when Narendra Modi ji was the Chief Minister of Gujarat. And when most of India's business was asking questions of the Prime Minister, was against the Prime Minister, one man stood shoulder to shoulder with the Prime Minister. He didn't back down. That's commendable. It's not a joke. He was loyal to the Prime Minister.
आप लोग राष्ट्रपति के अभिभाषण का बहिष्कार कर रहे हैं। देखिए, कल भी मैंने सर्वदलीय बैठक में ये बात कही थी और आज फिर से दोहरा दे रहा हूं। पिछले 3-4 दिनों से इस देश में करोड़ों लोग चिंतित हैं। उनके घर के चूल्हे नहीं जल रहे हैं। जिन लोगों ने LIC में अपना पैसा लगा रखा है, और इस देश के करोड़ों लोग ऐसे हैं जिन्होंने LIC में अपना पैसा लगा रखा है। क्यों लगा रखा है? बेटी की शादी के लिए, कभी बीमार हो जाएंगे तो उस संकट के लिए, छोटा सा आसियाना बनाने के लिए, बुढ़ापे की पेंशन के लिए। आज LIC लूट गई, SBI लूट गई, और कौन है लूटने वाला? एक व्यक्ति, अडानी, जो नरेंद्र मोदी जी का मित्र है, जो भारतीय जनता पार्टी का तथाकथित खजांची है। उसके भ्रष्टाचार को सामने आने के बाद मोदी सरकार कुछ नहीं बोल रही है। और देखिए, आपकी वो व्यक्ति कह रहा है कि अडानी पे हमला ये भारत पे हमला है। यह अजीब परिभाषा निकल गई। अडानी इज नॉट इंडिया, इंडिया इज नॉट अडानी। भारत का बहुत बड़ा गौरव है। कल को कोई जेब कतरा खड़ा होगा, थाने में चला जाएगा, कह देगा हमारे ऊपर थानेदार साहब आप कार्रवाई करेंगे तो भारत के ऊपर हमला है। ये क्या बात हुई? लाखों करोड़ों लोगों की जेब काटने वाला अडानी, वो कह रहा है उसके फ्रॉड को उजागर करना भारत पे हमला है। तो अडानी ने देश के करोड़ों लोगों के भविष्य पे हमला किया है ये फ्रॉड करके। लगभग 4.5 लाख करोड़ रुपए इस देश के निवेशकों का, इस देश के लोगों का पैसा डूब गया, उनकी गाढ़ी कमाई का पैसा डूब गया। और इस भ्रष्टाचार को जानने के लिए कोई अतिरिक्त विज्ञान लगाने की जरूरत नहीं है। ऐसे समझिए, टैक्स हेवन कंट्रीज जैसे कि मॉरिशस हो गया, एंटीगुआ हो गया, ऐसे देश जहां पर कंपनी बनाने, पैसा रखने पर कोई कर नहीं लगता, ऐसे देशों में इस अडानी ने फर्जी कंपनियां बनाई। उन फर्जी कंपनियों के जरिए भारत में अपनी ही कंपनी का शेयर खरीदा, अपनी इस कंपनी का शेयर खरीद के उसके दाम बढ़ाए, और अपनी कंपनी के शेयर के दाम बढ़ाकर उन्हीं कंपनियों पर बड़े बड़े लाखों करोड़ रुपए के बैंकों से लोन ले लिए। आपको मालूम है LIC ने कितना पैसा अडानी पे लगाया है? 87,000 करोड़ रुपए। मोदी जी किसके कहने पर यह पैसा लगा? जवाब दीजिए। SBI में हजारों करोड़ रुपए का लोन लिया, किसके कहने पर लोन मिला? मोदी जी जवाब दीजिए। भारत की सरकार की खामोशी इस देश के करोड़ों लोगों के लिए चिंता का विषय बनी हुई है। इसलिए हम लोग राष्ट्रपति के अभिभाषण का बहिष्कार कर रहे हैं, और हम इस पे जवाब चाहते हैं कि सरकार इस पे सामने आके जवाब दे, सदन में चर्चा कराए। और कहां है CBI, कहां है इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट, कहां है सेबी, इन सारी एजेंसीज को अब तक कार्रवाई क्यों नहीं करनी चाहिए? ED कहां छुपी हुई है? इसका जवाब देना चाहिए सरकार।
लेकिन बिना बहिष्कार किए भी आप इन सारे मुद्दों को सदन के अंदर उठा सकते हैं।
उठाया तो था सर्वदलीय बैठक में, कल ही उठाया था। कल से लेके आज तक कोई जवाब आया हो सरकार की ओर से तो बताइए। वो व्यक्ति उल्टा और घूम घूम के कह रहा है भारत पे हमला है। अगर भारत पे हमला है तो रक्षा मंत्री क्या कर रहे हैं? अगर भारत पे हमला है तो प्रधानमंत्री खामोश क्यों है? अगर भारत पे हमला है तो अमित शाह जी को बोलना चाहिए, राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा सलाहकार को आके बोलना चाहिए सामने। एक व्यक्ति के फ्रॉड को उजागर करना, भारत पे हमला कैसे हो गया? जिस व्यक्ति ने करोड़ों लोगों को लूट कर करोड़ों लोगों के भविष्य पर हमला कर दिया, उसके फ्रॉड को उजागर करना भारत पे हमला कैसे हो गया? तो ये सवाल है।